stealing the show here in the fourth. Step it up. And it's 8 down the protocol. Next man step it up. And Giddey from the outside. 4-3. Knocks it down.
Call me Bucky, lucky that I'm innocent. If I didn't have no mobiles, I'd be menacing. How about
Hey guys, welcome back to Soul Therapy. Today we have a very exclusive interview. We're here with Josh Giddey, Australia's homegrown NBA player. He's one of the best NBA players that are effectively in the game right now. I know LeBron has spoken really highly of you. How are you today?
Doing good. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here and be in Sydney and excited for tonight.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear you speak. That's why I'm so nervous. I think this is a life-changing moment for me, so bear with me.
No problem.
So Pushers is a sneaker marketplace, and so a lot of the questions will be centered around you and you know, your sneaker passion. I know you're a huge sneakerhead.
Yeah.
What was your first pair of sneakers?
I was always into it, obviously as a kid, and I was begging my parents to buy shoes for me and things like that. But the first real good pair of shoes I got was a pair of Off-White Prestos.
Wow.
It was the black pair. I got them gifted to me. I didn't pay for them. So a guy called Tom Wilson actually plays for the Collingwood Football Club now. He gave me my first ever pair of hype kind of exclusive shoes, and that's from that point on I got really into it. And then obviously as I started making a little bit of money playing basketball, I was able to get more shoes, and then my love for shoes and sneakers grew from there.
Yeah, and what's your favorite pair now?
My favorite, I wear white Air Forces. That'd be my go-to pair. I wear them pretty much every day, but I was a big fan of the Off-White, Travis Scott collabs. I'm a Nike athlete, so all Nikes and Jordans.
Yeah.
But I wear a pretty wide variety of shoes, but I'd say Air Forces is probably my go-to day to day.
Is there a reason why?
For Air Forces?
Yeah.
I think that white ones go with everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to not make it work, so yeah, that's probably my go-to.
How do you pick a sneaker for a big game? Because obviously every game you're wearing a different pair of sneakers, so how do you pick that? And do you have any sneaker rituals that you're doing?
No rituals. Sometimes I have a superstition if I have a good game in a pair of shoes, I might wear it the next night, but for the most part I typically rotate through it. Kind of depends on what color jerseys we're wearing as well, which will go with what shoes. So I don't really have any superstitions unless I have a good or a bad game. I wouldn't wear that shoe again, but for the most part I just rotate through and base it on what jersey we're wearing.
Was there a shoe that was lucky for you that helped you
with
a pivotal moment?
There was a WNBA Kobe 6P that I got. I wore it for the first time in Madison Square Garden. Had a good game, and I kind of was superstitious with that for a while. I only wore it for big occasions, and that's my favorite shoe that I have. But outside of that, as I said, I rotated pretty frequently, and didn't really have any rituals with that.
I'm trying to think about the best way to ask this, but what was the biggest lesson that you've had in the NBA so far? I know you've had a pretty storied career for being so new to the game, but what has been the biggest lessons?
I think for me, it was 82 games is a long year, and I think if you get caught up, in every good and bad game you have, it's a lot of highs and lows to ride. So for me, I learned to put the past in the past pretty quickly. You have a bad game, move on. You have a good game, never get too high, never get too low kind of thing. So that was a big lesson I learned. I struggled with it early on because, as a young player in the league, you want to impress. It's your first time with everybody in the world seeing you play, so you can get caught up in that. But for me, once you stay, pretty level-headed and a consistent, I guess, emotion level, it makes life and playing basketball a lot easier. So that was the big lesson I learned and that I've taken with me through to going into my third year.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And how are you feeling about your third year?
Very excited. I think our team's going to go to another level next year. Hopefully we're getting obviously Chet's coming back healthy. All that guys are having good summers, so hopefully we come back to training camp, hit the ground running, and we're in for a good year.
That's awesome. Last question, and thanks for doing this, by the way. I'm a huge fan, so that's why I'm so nervous. Being Australian grown, you're one of the best NBA talent that's come out of this country, and I think you're a big role model to a lot of kids. When you look down at the end of your career and there's an impact that you've had on especially Australian kids, what's the impact that you want to have?
I think for me, because I understand what it's like to be a kid from Australia, and the NBA seems so distant. It seems like it's so hard to make, and I was in that kid's position 5-10 years ago, sitting there dreaming of being an NBA player. And as I said, it seems far away when you're that age, but as you start to get older, it starts to become closer and closer. And if you do the numbers and the math, the likelihood of making the NBA as a basketball player around the world is slim to none. There's millions and millions of people trying to get it, and there's only 450 NBA spots. So I think you have to be doing something every day to better yourself, and that's what I tell kids when I talk to them. It doesn't have to be 2 hours a day. It could be 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. Just making sure you're touching up on your game, because it is a business. There's moving parts at all times, but I I hope I can be a role model to kids that have come through a similar pathway to me, through the Basketball Victoria system and through junior clubs and things like that, and look up to me for inspiration. So, that's why I come back and do, basketball camps for these kids, because I used to do them when I was younger too. So anytime I can come back and speak to kids and be around them, it's definitely a special moment, and something I don't take for granted.
Awesome. No, those are great answers. Thanks for being here with us. I know you're going to have a great career, and this is only the start, so I'm excited to see where you go from here. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
bro.
Call me Bucky, lucky that I'm innocent. If I didn't have no mogos, I'd be menacing. How about rapping conscious but he ignorant? How he from the hood but still gon' go legitimate? How he fuck a bunch of